Dozens of Dairy Queens went dark almost overnight, and the reason isn't that people stopped buying Blizzards. In February 2025, 25 locations in Texas shuttered their doors, blindsiding communities and putting hundreds of employees out of work. Behind the sudden closures, a bitter legal fight between a franchisee and American Dairy Queen Corporation, with millions of dollars on the line. But this isn't just a one-off dispute. It's a window into the high-stakes economics of fast food franchising, the soaring costs, the razor-thin margins, and the power imbalance that can crush small operators. We're diving into the Texas case, the economics, and what it means for the future of franchising. In February 2025, something strange happened across Texas. 25 Dairy Queen restaurants, all owned by a single franchisee named Project Lone Star, shut their doors without warning. Overnight, the blizzard stopped spinning. The grills went cold, and soon after, the full contents of about 24 of those stores were put up for auction. Ice cream machines, fryers, freezers, everything had to go. The winning bids? They ranged from just $5,600 to $27,000. That's what a Dairy Queen is worth when the business inside it evaporates. Closures by franchisees have continued into 2026 in other states, according to news reports, a slow, quiet wave. But this story isn't about melting ice cream or slumping sales. It's about how franchise economics really work and what happens when they break. Because before those restaurants went dark, there was a deal, and that deal fell apart. That's next. What happened in Texas? In early 2025, a franchisee called Project Lone Star tried to sell its Dairy Queen restaurants. But according to a lawsuit filed by the franchisee, the sale fell apart when American Dairy Queen Corporation imposed additional financial obligations as a condition of transferring ownership. The lawsuit alleges that these demands, including transfer fees and royalty payments, amounted to a breach of contract. Project Lone Star claims it lost at least $4 million as a result. After the sale collapsed, 25 of its restaurants abruptly closed in February. Then, ADQC cut off supplies to the remaining 13 stores. By the end of March 2025, 12 more had shut their doors. It's important to remember, this is an unresolved court case. Franchise agreements do give the franchisor the right to set and enforce transfer conditions. No court has yet ruled on who is right. But the dispute does raise a bigger question. What does it actually cost to own a Dairy Queen? And that's what we'll look at next. But behind every dipped cone and upside-down blizzard, there's a spreadsheet. To open a DQ Grill and Chill, the total investment runs from $1.5 million to over $2.5 million. And before you're even approved, you need a net worth of $750,000, with $400,000 of that in liquid cash. Once open, the average grill and chill brings in about $1.43 million in gross sales. But off the top, before you pay for a single patty or hour of labor, 4% goes to royalty and another 5 to 6% to advertising. That's 9 to 10% of your gross, gone before food, labor, and rent. For a smaller DQ treat store, the math is even tighter. Sales around $1.36 million, estimated earnings just $162,000 to $203,000 a year. That means it takes 6 to 8 years just to earn back your initial investment. That's not a get-rich-quick scheme. That's a family's life savings riding on a decade-long gamble with razor-thin margins. And those margins are about to get even thinner. Coming up, the squeeze. Now, the dispute in Texas wasn't just about one sale gone wrong. But zoom out, and you see that margins are cracking across the entire quick service industry. According to market research, global food commodity indices shot up 28% between 2021 and 2024. That squeezed operating margins for fast food chains by 150 to 250 basis points. When costs rise like that, franchisors feel the pressure too, and they often pass it down. Take McDonald's. Starting January 1st, 2024, it raised its royalty fee for new franchisees from 4% to 5%. When the corporate top line is threatened, franchisees become a source of revenue. Here's the key. Rising costs squeeze the operator, not the brand. The franchisee absorbs the shock. That squeeze is something Dairy Queen franchisees know all too well. In fact, it's at the center of an old fight, one we're going to look at next. This isn't the first time Dairy Queen has found itself across the courtroom from its own franchisees. In 1994, a class action lawsuit alleged the company illegally restricted supply purchases, squeezing operators on the very ingredients they needed to run their stores. Go back further, to the 1960s, and you'll find legal battles over royalty payments and the rights to the Dairy Queen name itself. The tension is built into the system. Some franchise relationships are still governed by contracts that are older than the people running the stores. In one recent court case, the fight centered on a 2-page agreement signed 70 years ago. The franchisee wanted to sell his business, but according to court filings, Dairy Queen conditioned its approval on the buyer signing an entirely new, and far less favorable, modern contract. When a system relies on decades-old handshake-era documents and a national brand's need for control, friction at the seams is almost inevitable. And that friction, as we've seen, can have real consequences. Let's be clear, Dairy Queen is not going anywhere. It remains a major chain with thousands of locations around the world. But the Texas dispute shines a light on the difficult economics facing small franchisees. The upfront investment can reach $2.5 million. Annual royalty and ad fees take 9 to 10% off the top of gross sales. The payback period, even for a successful store, often runs 6 years or more. And when outside costs surge, like the 28% jump in global food commodity prices between 2021 and 2024, those thin margins get squeezed to the breaking point. As for the legal battle in Texas, it's still unresolved. And news reports indicate that closures have continued into 2026 in other states. How this plays out could reshape the conversation about who bears the risk in franchise relationships. In the end, behind every closed DQ is a person who invested their savings and their future in that red sign, and a community that lost a local gathering spot and its favorite Blizzard treat. At its heart, this isn't just a legal dispute. It's a story about the fine print in the American dream, where the cost of a Blizzard can bury a small business. If you enjoy unpacking the hidden economics behind the brands you know, hit that subscribe button. We've got plenty more where this came from. The American dream has a franchise fee,